What's up, y'all? It's Blaze back with some more One Piece TCG content for you to enjoy. Now, today I want to do something a little bit different. I've been talking a lot about market content. I've been talking some about, how to play, how to get into the game, stuff like that. I want to talk now about more kind of where we're at going into 2026. All the sets, looking back at the past, everything that we've seen, and just how I personally feel about all the sets that we've had so far in the game and where I would rank them. So today we're going to be doing an OP1 through 14 total set tier list. And that's not just a tier list for collectability. It's not just a tier list for playability. It's a tier list of my feelings of everything going into the set, from the art to the meta around it, to the collectability of the sealed product, to the singles that are in it, and just me personally, how I rank the sets off just my total feelings towards it. Also, once again, reminder, I know y'all are sick of hearing about it and you want me to announce the winner already, but you can still enter for this Gear 5 Luffy. To get this, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below, and you will be entered. My birthday's this weekend. I'm gonna announce it around my birthday because I'm Finnish, immigrant. In Finnish culture, we give other people presents on our birthday, right? So I'm giving y'all a present for my birthday. So I will be announcing that very soon. You only have to the end of this week to enter into that giveaway and get this sweet, sweet Gear 5 Luffy. Man, has the value on this thing gone insane since I announced the giveaway. Y'all are lucky. If you found this channel early, right now, y'all are lucky to be here, man. Not even gonna front. But thank you all so much for being here, and I really appreciate all of y'all. So let's get into it. So I got the tier list here. We're gonna be ranking them all, starting off with the beginning, the very first, OP01. Now, this might be a somewhat controversial take, but for me, OP01's going into B tier. And hear me out, because everyone's saying, what? How are you going to put OP01 in B tier? This is like, it's the set that started it all, it's the most valuable, yada yada. Okay, well, I told you I'm not just doing it off value, right? That's not the only thing we're considering here. OP01, it was a solid first set, but in a way, it kind of wasn't that great of a first set, because you look at a lot of the OP01 cards, you look at the alt arts and everything, wow, they look super good. You look at the overall composition of the set, the gameplay, it's very, very simple. It's very straightforward. And the card designs, I mean, most of them are just straight up anime screenshots. Some of them, like, don't have, the full art that we would expect on a card now. They have the, like, hard text box at the bottom. And sometimes they don't even have any text, like, in that text box. So they end up kind of looking like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen, like, Union Arena common cards. What just, like, the bulk in Union Arena looks like. But most of OP01 looks like that. Most OP01 cards are not original art. They are just anime screenshots with hard, border at the bottom. And to me, the first impression of the game that I got from that aspect of this set, to me, that definitely is a negative towards this. And to me, that makes it so that this set, combined with the very, very simple gameplay, and I understand they got to start from somewhere, but that combined with the simple gameplay, it didn't give me, the best real first impression of this game. Obviously, from a collector standpoint, this is like the holy grail, right? So, I mean, if it wasn't for that, I would probably put this as a C if the collectability wasn't so strong. But to me, yeah, OP01, I might get crucified for this. I think it's a B tier set as a total package. And honestly, I think that OP02 was a significant step up. And this is also like a hear me out moment here, because people say, oh man, OP02, this is like when Red was just running everything and all that. Okay, well, I didn't play the game at that point. What this set did, it's important, aside from also just having really good theming, is this set added black to the game. And that, along with the fact that it had the Navy engine cards, which I think are really cool. It had stuff like, you know, Great Eruption, stuff like Ice Age, insanely good cards. Now, Black didn't really fully get to capitalize on the stuff that came out of this set until later, but the fact that there's cards from this that got banned here, to me, that tells you how strong a lot of the stuff that was printed for Black in this set was. And part of that is because it wasn't like fully balanced yet. But to me, as somebody who really enjoys Black as a color, there's so many like iconic cards from this set. And the theme of it, the Marineford like whole theme, the Summit War, you know, I think the manga, I do think the Ace manga, I'm not a big Ace fan, but I think that manga is like unquestionably much better than the Shanks from OP01. And so to me, this is a set that is a step up. It's a little bit of a step up. I think they, you know, started getting there a little more on this set. Next set is Pillars of Strength. Now to me, the set's also B tier because it introduced yellow, and I hate yellow. I think yellow sucks as like a design for a color overall. It's one of my least favorite colors. But I do respect one thing about this set, and that's that this set has a heavy focus on the Big Mom Pirates, who I think are a really cool and really underrated faction within the One Piece world. I think Katakuri is hardly underrated, but like Lin and Katakuri, and I think Charlotte Brule is cool. I think the whole Big Mom family is cool. You know, the Mirror World, all that stuff. So to me, I do really like that this set has such a heavy focus on the Big Mom Pirates. I think that's a lot of fun, and it raises the set to me. Some of the alt arts are really cool. Any of the Big Mom stuff I think is great. I don't love the alt art for Big Mom in this. One other thing that OP03 does have going for it also is it's the first set with the wanted poster type SPs. However, I do think that the initial variant of the wanted posters, before they had like the actual drawn look, again, they were using anime screenshots. I don't think they look very good in comparison to kind of what we are used to now. So for me, that kind of prevents it from being an A tier set and keeps it in B tier. Now, OP04, I don't think this is really that controversial. To me, this is a C tier set, I would say. Yeah, so OP04, I feel like didn't really move the needle like too much in terms of, you know, sets that really had a lot of impact on the game, or really sets that have like a ton of cool collectability to it. Obviously, Nami was introduced, which either makes this set really cool for you or you hate it. I don't have like super strong feelings on Nami either way. I think alternate win condition decks are cool in general, but I think Nami definitely like created problems, even if it is a higher skill deck than, you know, most people who've played into it understand that it is. It doesn't feel that way really when you're playing into it and you're like losing just purely due to the card draw, right? So next set, this one's really easy. S tier, OP05, goated, easily one of the best sets ever made, no question about that. This is the set that it was the first set that had multiple mangas. You had the 3 captains mangas. You had the Luffy, the Gear 5 Luffy, which is still to this day like arguably one of the grails, if not the grail. Like unarguably one of the grails, arguably the grail in many ways to some people of the entire game. The Gear 5 manga. You also have a ton of incredible alt arts. You have the Kid manga, the Law manga. I don't think people love the Kid manga, but like everybody loves the Law manga, right? So 3 incredible mangas. The introduction of the Purple Straw Hat engine, which is just awesome. You have Pluffy get introduced, which is just such a really cool, fun deck. The whole purple Luffy and purple archetype is just so good. You have the red purple Luffy, also the 3 life 6k ramp leader. The time walk Luffy. It was never like the best card ever, but it was so fun to play with. I mean, when this set came out, I had played a little bit of OP01, a little bit of OP02, and then kind of dropped off the game. And then when this set came out, I started playing again. This set literally got me into the game so much. Just playing red, purple Luffy and ramping into people, and just somebody decided to just rev their engine super loud by my house. But so I gotta go back. But yeah, just playing red, purple Luffy and ramping up like crazy, and playing my 10 cost Luffy's, taking extra turns. It was just so much fun, and the way that purple interacted with Dawn and just the purple decks and the Straw Hat engine, incredible. Obviously you have Sakazuki and Enel, which are also both very controversial leaders. Not a huge fan of Enel personally. I actually kind of really hate Enel. The way that leader is designed is really something I do not enjoy having to play against ever. But I don't have as much of an issue with Sakazuki as a lot of people did. I understand that it was overtuned, and this kind of when black became too good in a lot of ways. But I think Sakazuki's, I don't have as much of a problem with it as a lot of people do. I think removal should be allowed to exist in the game. Unfortunately, right now we're in a place where basically removal became too overtuned to the point where it's basically not allowed to exist anymore. Removal decks are just not a strategy that is allowed now. Which, to me, that really sucks, actually. For example, I think RP Law is way more of a problem than Sakazuki ever was. I think power removal plus aggro at the same time, that's when you really start running into problems. I think control removal should be allowed to be a thing. I think there's way too many cards that are removal immune now. But that's just me. Overall, meta, player, mechanically, collectability, sealed, singles, set depth, everything about OP05 is amazing, incredible. And then after that comes Wings of the Captain. I'm gonna put this up in A. We had Gecko Moria here, we had Reiju, we had even more awesome and fun black and purple mechanics and really cool design with Reiju. I think Reiju is still to this day one of the best design decks that has ever been released into this game. The de-ramping versus ramping up to your judge, the way that you're balancing, the way that you're able to cheat out characters, the combo you get to do out of trash to get your suited up versions of your characters. It's just so fun. It feels very skill intensive. The Reiju mirror is one of the most interesting mirrors in the game. Just really cool. Amazing art throughout the set too. Obviously you had Gecko Moria, the 8-drop character that you know, became a problem for a lot of people. But I still think he had one of the coolest alt arts ever. And I think, you know, it was fun to play the leader. I really enjoyed playing the leader Moria. Two of my favorite decks. I think some really, really great art in here. A really, really great set overall. I really love this set. I don't know if it's the best for collectors ever, but for, you know, playing, I think this set was a ton of fun. And now next up we have, was it EBO1 that released next, or was it OP07? I want to say it was OP07. OP07, I think I would put in B tier personally. It is a good set. It's a solid set, but I do think that it's a little, I don't know. It's like hit and miss for me. There's some really cool stuff in here. I think Rob Lucci and Jewelry Bonnie is like, you definitely either hate one of those decks or the other, like no question. For me personally, I hate Bonnie so much, and I know a ton of people hated playing against Lucci, which I think totally makes sense. Also, you know, there was some balancing stuff, like the stage for Lucci was just too crazy, right? There's definitely things about this set that design-wise were a little off. I think a lot of the art's really good. I think the Vegapunk leader is awesome. The Boa manga's great. Obviously, it's not quite on the same level as the OP06. The Zoro manga is like just awesome. So collectability wise, there's good stuff here. It's definitely a good set. It's not a bad set. The thing is that sets that are just okay or just good kind of end up in B, because the sets that are good are so good in One Piece that, yeah, it's a little bit tough. Next we'll do EBO1. I think this set to me this is an A tier set as far as collectability, playability. There's a lot of good stuff going for this set. When it came out, there was a lot of very playable cards in here. Stuff like the Brook, stuff like the Chopper blockers. The Chopper manga, I think, is decent. Now, the single collectability to me isn't really all that great, but obviously it's become, you know, one of the best pieces of collectible sealed product, so it's kind of kept its longevity in that way. Obviously it's not OP05, but it's, you know, still relevant to the ecosystem through that, even as the playability of some of the cards starts to fall off. Although, you know, stuff like Bon Clay, the 4-cost purple ramp card that can, you know, copy the power of an opponent's card, I struggle to see a world where that isn't relevant, like, pretty much forever. And I think that makes EBO1, you know, a really strong contender. Unfortunately, following it up is OP08, which is, I think, pretty much unquestionably the worst set ever. You know, you had the new Linlin, the purple Linlin obviously made a difference. But at this point, we were very stuck in this kind of post OP7 format, and this didn't really do a lot to shake it up. What did shake it up was the starter decks that came out and kind of gave us the 8.5 format, which was sort of its own thing. Also, we got a ban list for RP Law and Lucci, of course, which, you know, was kind of needed at that point. But this set really just didn't do much to move the needle. I mean, the Rayleigh manga from the set is still, I think, like the worst manga monetary-wise, and it's not a great design either. I think it's pretty unpopular. This set, you know, people don't like this set, and it's for good reason. It's not a good set. Definitely the worst set we ever had. Compared to other TCGs, the fact that OP08 is like the worst set we've ever had, like, This is better than most sets that, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh gets. No shade to Yu-Gi-Oh people, but you know I'm right. I mean, y'all have boxes that are, like, not even worth stores stocking them in the past few years. So a really bad One Piece set is not on that level, right? But thankfully, we course corrected with OP09. This has got to go straight to S tier. Super fun format. Super fun boxes to open. Super deep set. So many SPs. So many mangas. And I feel like the hit rates weren't as abysmal as a lot of the other anniversary sets. Because the anniversary sets are deep, but the hit rates, historically, in my experience, have been pretty bad on most of them. Like OP05, OP13 have not had good hit rates. Maybe this is purely just my own experience, but OP09 didn't feel as like stingy with the big hits. You got a lot of SPs from it. I did end up with a manga teach, which I sold, which I should not have, but I didn't pull that. I bought it. But just so much variety. The whole Four Emperors format, you know, and you had Teach and Shanks and Luffy. Buggy didn't really make that much of an impact, but it was a format that was fun and diverse, and there was, you know, other decks that were still kicking around and using the support, but it wasn't like so diverse that it was like a crazy open jungle meta either. I think Shanks did end up being kind of OP, and was it this set or was it? I think it was OP10 actually, where Shanks just started dominating everything. But yeah, just a really cool set. Really fun. Next we go to OP10. I think most people could agree that OP10 feels like a C tier set. It's not the worst ever. It's not the best ever. The format did get kind of dull. Shanks really was just dominating a lot. It was practically a tier 0 deck. I did really enjoy playing Usopp in this format. I thought that was a fun deck. There was some cool... We got the introduction of manga events, or alt-art events, whatever you want to call them. That Divine Departure from this set is really cool. There's definitely some neat cards in here. The Dressrosa stuff was fun. I think it's a set that gets hated on maybe a little bit too much, but oh, my cat's here. He has arrived. Yeah, he wants to show off for the camera as usual. Okay, you got your time to show off, bud. But yeah, I think it's definitely one of the weaker sets. I don't think it's as atrocious as some people make it out to be, but it's definitely a C tier set to me. Did I cover PR? I think I left out PRB01. So PRB01 to me probably got to be A tier. You know, it's really good. Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and throw it in S tier. I'll put it in S tier. I didn't hit anything good out of PRB, but I mean, this set is insane. It's got Gold Dawn. It's got the Manga God Pack. There's so much potential goodness in the set. And it also came with reprints of a bunch of super playable staples that helped, you know, more people get into the game. I remember I had friends who were buying PRB boxes and opening them up and divvying up all the SRs so that they could, you know, build decks out of all the stuff they got. So it was really friendly to collectors. Obviously, it's a great sealed product to still have around. It was very friendly to allowing the market to kind of come down on some of the staples and let people build decks more easily. This set really just did nothing but help the game, I think. Everything about this set was a net positive. So I got that a little bit out of order. PRB should have come earlier, but EBO2 is next. To me, I want to put EBO2 in S tier, but it's definitely A tier. The hit rates are very low. The set's incredibly deep, and I think the art in this set is just maybe the best art of any set ever. It's the anime artists doing it, and all of the cards have these super unique looks to them. The alt arts are incredible. You know, the Vegapunk alt, the Enel alt, even like obviously the Gear 2, the SPs. The SPs were reusing some artwork, so I can't like give the SPs like too much credit for the artwork. But just all the alts across the board in this thing were absolutely crazy. It introduced GP Luffy, maybe my favorite leader that there's ever been in the game. I absolutely love GP Luffy. It's so fun to play. Even though I don't really like green, it's such a great utilization of like how purple can work, where you're ramping and de-ramping, and you have so many ways to play around different situations. And man, I mean, oh yeah, that like the Sanji and Pudding, like the alt arts for that, the Nami, it just amazing. Man, I'm almost talking myself into, you know what, I'm doing it. It's an S tier. It's an S tier set. It's an S tier set, and it's only going to go up in collectability. The rare hits from this are only going to go up in rarity. The set is just like amazing. It's so good. The only problem with this set is that the hit rates are really, really low. And I know that definitely is like a big problem for a lot of people. Maybe that knocks it back down to A. I don't know. To me, it's S tier. What are you going to do? It's probably my favorite set, other than OP09. So next we get OP11. To me, OP11 is probably B tier. I think it's a pretty good set. There's cool stuff in it. There's cool design that was attempted here. Obviously, it became like a kind of a tier 0 format with that blue purple Luffy that I really wanted to like playing, but I absolutely actually hated how it plays, despite it being a 3-life purple Luffy leader with 6k power, which was like my whole thing in OP5, right? But it was like the opposite of that style. It wasn't aggressive at all. It didn't feel proactive at all. It was just ramp, and then like mess with the cards so that you're like just this like unkillable monster as the game goes on and on and on with attrition. You know, obviously this set does have the gold and silver crusted SPs. It was the first set to do that. That definitely is like an important factor for it. But even with that, I mean, the hit rates on those are so low. I don't think that's enough to like elevate the whole set, because it's really just one card and it's a chase card. I think the Year 4 manga is cool. I think it's all right. I had one for a while. The manga in here, I sold it probably for a little less money than I should have, but I mean, nobody knew the market was going to go the way it did. And it is, you know, one of the less popular Luffy mangas. I think, understandably, I don't think it has like the greatest art ever or anything. I think this is a good set. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. Let's go to OP12. OP12, I think, is kind of underrated, but it is a C tier set in many ways. I think it should be probably like at the top of C tier. I would put OP12 at like the top of C tier. I think it's one of the better C tier. Well, I put it at the top of C tier. I kind of like it. Yeah, no, it is, because we got like the DMG manga event, the Crusted Teach. I mean, there's like cool chase cards. Rayleigh was introduced in the set, which I really like Rayleigh. I think Rayleigh's a ton of fun. Don't love Green Zoro, but I don't hate it either. So as far as green decks go, it's one of like the less hateable ones for me, which makes this set, you know, not so bad. I think it's like top of C tier to me. I do still think it's an underrated set. Collectability wise, it's a little bit weak. I think the Jewelry Bonnie manga is like still kind of underrated. I'm surprised that it's going for as little as it is. I feel like it should probably come up over time, but hey, you know, whatever. Next up, we're gonna have PRB2. PRB2 I think belongs in A tier. I don't think it's as strong as PRB1, but it definitely is up there. It has really strong cards. I think the SPs are really, really nice. The Luffy SP is really strong. All the border breaking SPs I think are just really, really strong. They're really unique and cool. You know, there's no manga god pack like the PRB1. Obviously, I don't think we're gonna see that again for a long time, if ever. So that gives PRB1 like its own kind of special sauce it's got going on, which I think is cool. But there's the Gold Dawn God Pack, that's still neat. Got good reprints. We got a Bon Clay reprint finally. That was supposed to make that card more attainable. Didn't really end up doing that. But yeah, overall, I mean, solid set. As far as reprint set goes, I think it was good. And then next, obviously, you know I have to put OP13 up in S tier. Or do I? Maybe instead, I put it at the bottom of A tier because it brought in all the insanity with the collectors. Except honestly, I do have to put it in S tier, obviously. I can't do that. I can't do that, right? Like, we might all have feelings about the OP13 FOMO, the rush of it, and the meta. Maybe you didn't like that triangle meta. Maybe it got boring. I got a little tired of it by the end. And I don't hate a triangle meta, but OP13, it is a good set. It is a good set. I think Ace isn't a deck I love the design of. Emu is a deck I really like the design of. We have all the JJK alt arts, rendition of the 5 Elders. Those arts are incredible. We have 3 really, really nice mangas. The Luffy, Sabo, and the Ace are really nice. The 3 Brothers mangas, you know, obviously, you kind of can't go wrong with that. The meta is not one that I hated. I actually really didn't mind the triangle that much. It got stale by the end of it. All the decks were very solved, and it was kind of this, you know, revolving door of, is Ace gonna win or is Emu gonna win? And then Zoro trying to get, you know, a foot in there. But I don't love the introduction of the red mangas. I think the introduction of the red mangas created kind of this like crazy like gold rush of everyone buying it up as fast as possible, even more so than had happened previously with, like, you know, OP5, for example, when the last kind of big hype cycle happened. And I think we're still in the fallout of the OP13 hype cycle. The sealed boxes have gone to absolutely ridiculous prices already, even though the set has only been out for a few months still. And I don't like what it's done in a lot of ways to the collector aspect of the game, of just like driving everything up to insane prices where, you know, if you want to alt out half of the decks that are relevant, it's pretty much next to impossible to do it for any kind of close to reasonable price. But that being said, I can't hold that against the set to the point where I don't admit that it is a really good set. It introduced some very cool, fun decks. I mean, I still think there's decks in this set that, you know, we haven't even really seen the full potential of. I think, like, for example, Green-Red Luffy has a lot of potential to it. Red-Black Sabo has a lot of potential to it. So I can't hold what it did to the hype cycle of the collector market against it too much, when if I look at it as a player, it's in many ways a solid set, even if a bit of a stale meta. And now OP14. It's a little early to rank this set because we haven't really played through the meta too much, and I can't say if I like love it or hate it or anything yet. I don't think I love it, and I don't think I hate it. I think I do like it. I think it's good. I think this is a set that, to me, it feels similar to something like an OP11, or feels similar to something like, you know, maybe an OP6. I think it's somewhere between A and B. I think it's a better set than I expected it to be. I think for me personally, I'm going to put it at the top of B for right now. I do think it's also suffering from the post OP13 curse of, like, I don't think a lot of the card designs are that great. I don't think the SPs are that great. I think some of them are being amplified to these price values that are way above what they should actually be at. That is kind of a tough pill to swallow. That being said, I do really like the BOA, like the event manga. The SP I think is okay. I think it's going for way too much. The fact that this newest BOA SP is over $1,000 when the older two aren't, and it's, in my opinion, like very obviously the worst looking of the SPs, which doesn't look bad. It's just, it doesn't look as good as either the 04 or the 09 SP, in my opinion. So to me, I feel like the set's a little overinflated, and it's kind of hard not to hold that against it to some degree. You know, it's very difficult to get boxes of this. They're already going for almost $300, which feels just way too much. I don't love some of the design to it. I don't love, like, the BOA deck design, I think is really lame. The Mihawk deck design, I think, is, you know, green, like tap down kind of stuff. Playing into a deck that's just constantly tapping all your stuff down. It just doesn't feel that interactive. Constantly freezing it. I'm not into that style. So, you know, I don't love that about this meta. Honestly, I kind of preferred the playing into ace meta, but hey, you know what? It's got some variety to it. You'll at least see some different stuff here. You know, I think actually some of the decks, like I think the Gecko Moria is actually pretty interesting. I think the Jimbei is actually pretty interesting. Some of the like less popular, more fringy decks that got introduced through this are kind of cool. So I do like that about it. And I do think some of the alt arts and stuff are really nice. Like, I think it is a solid set. Honestly, it gives me kind of OP10 vibes. Kind of like, it's OP10, but better. It's like the, hey, here's the set after your big anniversary set that adds more diversity, that adds more complexity into what's happening in this year of the game, but done in a better way. Just also overhyped and inflated. All right, I'm gonna take a second to like order these around in the overall order I would put them. And then, yeah, we'll call this finalized. I think OP13 to me, it goes behind EBO3. It goes behind the other anniversary sets just because, I don't know, like OP13 was really mean to me, so I'm going to hold that against it. OP06 and EBO1 go up to the top of here. I think OP14 deserves to be at the top of B. Well, no, you know what? OP01 deserves to be at the top of B just because it's OP01 and I put it in B tier. So I got to let it at least be the king of B tier. I think after that, we go probably 11, then 7, then 4, 12, or I'm sorry, and then 3. So 3 at the back of this. Well, yeah, no, 3 at the back, 4, and then 8 at the bottom. Yeah, okay, so there we go. I'm happy with this. I would say this is my overall tier list for the One Piece trading card game history of the sets that have been released so far. So there you have it. All right, y'all. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Let me know what you think of my takes overall down in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. I'm sure you probably do. Obviously, there's some pretty contentious takes on here. I think this is not exactly a safe consensus tier list here. So go crazy, tear it apart. Tell me what you think the best sets should be. I look forward to hearing what y'all have to say. I try to respond to almost every comment that I see come through. So I love having, you know, conversations down there. It's a good time. All right, thanks again, y'all. I'll see you in the next one, and for now, peace.